But I thought this was interesting. I found a little exercise in one of the books that I'm going to show you that gives a number of sentences that have the same stress pattern. And this is just helpful for sort of starting to get the feel for it. Listen to these questions. And they all have this stress pattern. Do, 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 boo. Did you agree? Did you apply? Where had he gone? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do you hear that? Let's do them together. Did you agree? Did you apply? Where had he gone? And the answers have a slightly different stress pattern. They are, I could not agree. Ba, 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 ba. I could not agree. Let's do the second one. I applied today. Last one. He had gone to town. Okay. I could not, negative element, agree. Stressed syllable of the main verb. Main verb, and then whatever that is. Adverb, right? Adverb? Okay. Gone to town. Verb, noun. All right. So that's just a little something. I don't think that's on you. Is that on your handout? But
different sentences.
Different sentences. Okay. All right. So if you look back to your chart about what are the elements of pronunciation, back to sort of our map again of the landscape, your segmental features, and now we've looked at these three suprasegmental features, and these three features, getting the right number of syllables, getting the right stress within the word, and the right stress within the sentence, this gives you the basic rhythm of English. But then there are other things we do on top of that to help people follow the meaning. So we're going to look now at that second little group of suprasegmental features. The first one is called prominence or shifting stress. And let me grab this so that I know that I'm looking at the same thing as you. Okay, the basic sentence stress pattern says that basically we stress nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. But on top of that, there's always one or two words within a sentence that really stand out. And this business of having one or two elements really stand out, it's most often used in English when you're introducing new information or when you have a specific focus in what you're saying. And let's first look at new information. And I think once you become aware of this, if you can tune your ears to this, you'll start to notice people doing this all the time. So, at the top of the page 2 of your handout, there's a little dialogue here. And I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to kind of overemphasize it, but let's see, the one that says elements of pronunciation on the front, on the back, there's a little dialogue at the top. A lot of paper. That's sort of my trademark in teaching. I always create a lot of paper. Okay. Listen to me read it. What's the matter? I lost my hat. So in those first two sentences, we're going to stress what's, matter, lost, hat. But now, from here on, you're going to be seeing new information. So listen. What's the matter? I lost my hat. What kind of hat? You hear how that gets the main emphasis now. What kind of hat? I already know you're talking about a hat. Hat is now old information. First time that hat's mentioned, I lost my hat. But now it's old, so I'm going to put it in the background. What kind of hat? It was a rain hat. Okay? What color rain hat? The first time I said rain, I emphasized it because it was new. What kind of hat? A rain hat. But now rain goes in the background. What color rain hat? It was white. White's the new information. White with stripes. So it was white. Now put white in the background. White with stripes. There was a white hat with stripes in the car. White hat with stripes is old, car is new. There was a white hat with stripes in the car. Yeah, I heard somebody say it. Which car? The one I sold. Isn't that neat? I haven't seen those tired looks again. But it is kind of neat. Okay, read. Mm-hmm. Let's read.
Okay.
Read, let's read. Read, what's the matter?
I lost my hat.
What kind of hat?
It was a rain hat.
What color rain hat?
It was white. White with stripes.
There was a white hat with stripes in the car.
Which car?
The one I sold. Did that go too fast, or could you follow that? The American ear hears this. What matter? Lost hat. What kind? Rain. Color. White. Stripes. Da-da-da-da-da. Car. So the stressed elements, the new information is how we follow it along. We got our basic sentence stress, and then we're pulling out sort of the key elements. Now, in this case, we're pulling out the new information. But another thing we'll do is pull out specific information we want to put in focus. You've heard stuff like this. I think on your handout I have just a short example about, are we having pizza for lunch? No, we're having pizza for supper. We're having chicken for lunch. But I have a longer example I want to show you here on the overhead. I've written here the sentence, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Noun, verb, noun, adverb. Well, it's a noun, but it's an adverbial phrase. Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. That's your basic, vanilla, neutral, default, basic sentence stress. Now, I can actually take each of those elements and pull it up and make it the most prominent one in the sentence. So the first one, I can say, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. And I still have the basic stress underneath, but I'm pulling up Sally because I want to contrast Sally with something. Sally, if I'm going to do this one, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Sally in contrast to who? Do you see anything there that would contrast nicely with Sally? How about Marie? Yeah, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Marie isn't free this year. So since I stressed Sally, you know it's Sally in contrast to somebody else. Okay? Or I could do this one. Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Yeah, it's too long to drive, so she's not going to drive. She's going to be flying. Yeah, the focus there is on flying. How about this one? Sally's going to be flying, well, the rest of them are kind of in order. Sally's going to be flying to Colorado in July. Yeah, not New York. The conference is in Denver. Okay? Oh, does she like to snow? Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. I don't think she'll see much snow. Are you with me on this? Okay, let me wake you up again. If you are willing to work with your partner for a second, I would like you to look at that. Sally will be flying to Colorado in July, and at random decide which of these stressed syllables you want to pull out and make the most important one. And see if the person you're working with can hear which one you've stressed, and then on the basis of that, they can figure out which one goes with it. Got it? Okay, let me get your attention. Let me get your attention. Y'all test me. Somebody give me that sentence and pull out the word of your choice, and I'll see if I can understand what you're trying to stress. Would you like to do it? Say it again. To tell you the truth, they all sound the same to me. Stress it even more. And I'll tell you something. To get the stress right, to get English stress, you've got to do what feels like overstressing to you. Seriously. Okay, do it again. Oh, good. Because it's too far to drive, right? It's too far to drive? All right. Yeah, this English makes huge use of stress to help follow meaning. And I remember I had a Japanese student one time, and he was joking. He said, you know, when you speak Japanese, you speak like this. When you speak English, you speak like this. Ooh, ooh. And, you know, he was making fun of it. But the thing is, just the normal English ups and downs sounded extreme to him. So you got to be willing to go out of your comfort zone a little bit and be extreme. Okay, somebody else try me. Yes, ma'am.
Sally will be flying to Colorado in July.
Sally will be flying to Colorado because the conference is in Denver, right? All right. Very good. And let me say something. You just said something which is very typically Chinese. And since there's a lot of Chinese people here, this is, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it. She stressed the word Colorado, and I was able to catch her stress. But let me show you how she did it, and then the American way, and see if you can pick the difference. She said, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Versus this, Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Yeah, you made it louder, which is good. And in English, we make it louder and also higher pitch. Sally will be flying to Colorado in July. Yeah. So louder and higher. Okay. Let me hear you say that again. Sally will be flying to Colorado.
Sally will be flying to Colorado in July.
Okay. Better already. Better already. Somebody else try me. Yes, ma'am.
Sally will be flying to Colorado in July.
Oh, she's not going to walk? It's too far to drive? Did I understand you right? Okay, good. We got our segments right. Over that we lay our basic stress. Over that we pull out the most important words. And then I've got my arm here representing the flow of speech. You've got all your words here. Try and get your sounds as right as you can. You've got your stress. But then the next thing is, it's very important in English to help your listener know what words go together. And we divide words into what are sometimes called thought groups. So we take this flow of speech and we chop it up. And we chop it up using pauses and a little bit of a fall of intonation. If it was writing, you know, in writing, there's a capital letter to start the sentence. There's an introductory clause, comma, some more, comma, period. You don't have those commas in speech. So in English, what we do is we use pauses in place of that. And I've got a couple examples here to show you that where you put your pauses, showing which words go together, can change the meaning of what you're saying. The first sentence is, John, said Joe, is lazy. Yeah. So who's lazy? John's lazy. The second one is, John said Joe is lazy. Yeah. Now, it's a short sentence, so you'd probably just say, John said Joe is lazy. But if you wanted to be dramatic and stretch it out a bit, you could say, John said Joe is lazy. Because this is like a little sentence that goes together. Joe is lazy. John said Joe is lazy. John said Joe is lazy. Okay, I'm overemphasizing it. Let me do it like normal. John said Joe is lazy. John said Joe is lazy. John said Joe is lazy. Can you hear the difference? Okay, then I'll make it more emphasized again. Because the whole business about training your ears to hear this is because as it just goes by you in everyday language, it's not necessarily obvious until it's really been pointed out. Okay, so the first one, John, said Joe, is lazy. Say it with me. John, said Joe, is lazy. Do it again. John, said Joe, is lazy. Okay, now let's do John said, a slight pause, Joe is lazy, like this. John said, Joe is lazy. John said, Joe is lazy. Okay, you're sounding good. Let's try this. This might be a little bit more down your alley for some of you all. A plus B times C is D. The second one is A plus B times C is D. Okay, so say the first one with me, and let's really emphasize it. A plus B times C equals D. Again, A plus B times C equals D. Okay? Then A plus B times C equals D. Again, A plus B times C equals D. Are you feeling it? Yes, no. Okay, let me show you what this looks like in speech. And here I have a little story about myself. It doesn't have any punctuation because it's supposed to be speech, not written English. And let me give it to you with no thought groups. Some languages, and I think this is true of those of you who are from Bangladesh, your language. I had a gentleman whose native language was, it wasn't Hindi, but it was an Indian language, and his intonation was da 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 da, very musical, very light and musical. But it sort of sounded like this when he spoke. My name is Kay, and I've been living in South Carolina for about 18 years. Before coming here, I lived in North Carolina, which is the state where I did the largest part of my growing up. Both my brother and sister still live there, one in Charlotte and one in Asheville. The Asheville area is great if you enjoy outdoor sports like hiking and camping. My name is Kay, and I've been living in South Carolina for about 18 years. Before coming here, I lived in North Carolina, which is the state where I did the largest part of my growing up. And again, hold on a second. I could break this up more too. I could say, which is the state where I did the largest part of my growing up. Okay. Let's see. Both my brother and sister still live there, one in Charlotte and one in Asheville. The Asheville area is great if you enjoy outdoor sports like hiking and camping. All right. Okay, the last item on that chart under suprasegmental features is just the question of intonation patterns. Do you know what direction an English sentence goes as far as, woo? My name is Kay. Yeah. My name is Kay, and I've lived in South Carolina for about 18 years. What we do in a sentence is we jump up and step down, jump up and step down, jump up and step down. And the jumps are generally on those words that we're trying to focus on, like Sally will be going to Colorado in July, not Marie. In July, now July, or my name is Kay. You can slide all the way down on a word, but basically we jump up, step down until we get to our next focus word. Jump up, step down, jump up, step down. Jason, could you say 3 or 4 things about your time teaching in Korea? Like, what was the best part about living and teaching overseas?
I really enjoyed being in a foreign culture and learning a lot about the culture.
I really enjoyed being in a foreign culture and learning a lot about the culture. Did you catch that? Okay. Reed, what are you doing besides working at the Center for Teaching Excellence?
That's a good question. I am studying philosophy
Mm-hmm.
because it's something that I really care about. And one day I hope to be a teacher.
One day I hope to be a teacher. Can you hear it? Okay. Again, just one more thing. Tune your ears. Start listening. Now, what about questions? Which direction do questions go? That's a trick question because it depends. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Another teaching tip. Sometimes when students don't answer, it's because the answer is too obvious. Yes. All right. WH questions tend to go down at the end. What is your name? Where do you live? How long does it take to get to your house? Yes, no questions tend to go up at the end. Are you tired? Hungry? You can do it just on a word. Hungry? Hungry? Yeah. Let me hear everybody here say, are you hungry?
Are you hungry?
It's not going up enough. Are you hungry?
Are you hungry?
Okay, now you start to sound like a bunch of Americans. Okay? How about this one? What is your name?
What is your name?
Oh, you're really starting to sound like a bunch of Americans. It's interesting to me, I've taught pronunciation for a long time. It's interesting to me that when people start doing things that feel funny to them, they start sounding good to me. Yeah. I had a student, I can't remember where I think she was Chinese, and she was the fruit, apple. She was always saying apple, apple. And I said, you got to say apple. Apple. No, apple. And I said, look at my mouth, do this. Apple. And she went like this. Apple. Because she hit the target, but it felt so strange because it just didn't exist in her language, So remember that. If it's feeling funny, you're getting close. All right, where are we? How important are these elements relatively speaking? Okay, I told you at the beginning, people usually think mainly of this, like what the hard sounds are when they think about pronunciation. But this is just a part of the picture. And this is not terribly scientific, but just from observation and from just what I have read and what I've experienced and what I've seen, this is about 70% of whether or not people can understand you, and this is about 30%. If you make all your sounds just right, but your word stress is off, or your basic sentence stress is off, or everything is run together, people cannot understand you. If this stuff is good, you got all the syllables, you're stressing your words right, you're stressing the stressed elements. If this is off, it really doesn't matter. If you've got this, you're much easier to understand. Okay, let me see what time it is. 1:45. Okay, I need to wrap this up then. Okay, what's practical? What can you do to improve your accent? Well, I already told you this. Try to slow down and pause between thought groups. Little typo there. Try to slow down and pause between thought groups. Number 2, focus on developing your listening skills. Just after being here tonight and doing a couple little exercises, you are now in a position where you can be intentional about listening. I had this friend at church. She had been Argelis Rodriguez. She doesn't live in Colombia anymore, but she'd been in Colombia for 18 years. And she said, people have trouble understanding me on the phone. Like I was trying to just say the word taco on the phone, taco, and they couldn't understand me. And I said, well, that's because in English, do you know what she was saying? Taco. Taco. In English, we put a little puff of air after the T and the T and the K. Taco. And she was saying taco with a beautiful Spanish T and K. It's correct.
It's hard. That happened to me. My son used to be at this school called, and the word is Morris. Okay.
Morris.
But people would say, what? And so I would have to make it up with Morris.
Morris.
Morris. And they, oh, they understand.
Yeah. A little thing can throw people off. And now that is taco. That her mistake was on this side of the chart and not on this side of the chart. However, my point is she had been in the U.S. for, an enormous amount of time. She'd been here for a long time. She spoke beautiful English, but she had never noticed that the English T and K are different from the Spanish T and K. And I said, you got to say taco, put a little air there. And I saw her like a week later, and she said, that's all over the place. Everybody says t and k and p. And, once it had been pointed out to her, she started hearing it everywhere. And so I hope that you all can focus on developing your listening skills. Listen for the pauses. Listen for the ups and downs. And once you start hearing it, then you can start imitating it. Okay, I told you that working on pronunciation, it's a skill. It takes practice. So, you overhear somebody in the office say, boy, it's cold today. And so you can say to yourself, boy, it's cold today. Those are quite a prominent pattern there. So then you need to walk down the sidewalk saying to yourself, boy, it's cold today. Boy, it's cold today. I'm not kidding. Boy, it's cold today. And just say it and say it and say it. And start to get the feel of that woo pattern of English. Okay? Now, I've given you a few things tonight that you can listen for, but study courses. There are some things out there you can do on your own, and I will show them to you. I know you're busy. I know that everybody's really busy. But I want to mention 3 courses, and I've got them listed on your handout there. This one's been around for a while. It's called Pronunciation for Success. And the nice thing about this course, I've got it all videotaped, but it's on DVD now. But the whole course with the teachers is right here. So the teachers will give you a little lesson, for example, on sentence stress. They'll demonstrate it, and then they'll walk you through the exercises in the book. So this one is Pronunciation for Success. It was done a while ago, so everybody's hairdo is about, 15 years out of date. But it's excellent material. And, let's see. I guess I just have that. You can also buy CDs to accompany this so that once you've, watched one of the little segments, done a few of the exercises, you can listen to the CD in your car or, put it on your iPod and listen to it as you walk around campus, because you got to listen to this stuff. Okay, another one. This is the one we use in the course that we do with this Center for Teaching Excellence. American Accent Training. This is the least expensive of the ones I want to show you. I think it's about $25 or so on Amazon. But it's a book and CDs. And everything in the book is on the CDs. And so, if you just sat down and read the book and listened to the CD is reading the book to you. But again, they'll explain a section and give a number of practice exercises. So if you can carve out, half an hour once a week and read through a little section of the book with the listening to the lady, then listen to the audio portion as you walk around campus or as you're driving in your car, that will really help you with the training of your ears. And also you'll be practicing, saying over and over again this stuff. And then another one, that one is American Accent Training. And then this one, the American Accent Guide, is very similar, same basic idea. It costs around $30 or $50, depending on whether you get audio CDs or this one that I have has everything on MP3 format. So you can just flip it right over to your MP3 player. If you buy it with the CDs, you get 8 CDs. So it's cheaper, but you got more to work with. But again, these are all designed for independent study. They're good with a teacher, but they're also, everything is here. So if you can sit down a couple times a week and take it little by little and then do lots of listening, these are all really good courses. I wish I could do more for you, but that's pretty much it. Oh, I did give you one handout that we didn't have time to go over. And we're not going to go over it. But it's the one that says linking words together. We had a little taste of that when we were talking about linking and blending. And this just gives you the specific rules. So, and I will go ahead and say one specific thing to the Chinese students, if I may. I had a lot of Chinese students in my class, with the professors, when we did this class. I've noticed that students from China often speak very precisely, and look under their section 2, where it says, when a word ending in a consonant is followed by a word beginning with the same consonant, link these words together and say the consonant only once. The first example there says, I've lived here a short time. I've lived here a short time. Because of the nature of Chinese phonology, Chinese students who are trying to speak English carefully will say, I've lived here a short time. I've lived here a short time, instead of running them together. It adds an extra beat. I've lived here a short time. I've lived here a short time. Or with another example, look under number 3. She's a bit pale. She's a bit pale. So it's typical. Now, I don't know, some of the rest of you might do this and I'm just not aware of it. But it's typical with Chinese students. Korean students do this too. When you have a word ending in a consonant and another word beginning in a consonant, you put a little air in between. That makes you hard to understand because it messes up the rhythm. So I'm just pointing that out. Wish we could practice it for 45 minutes, but we can't. Okay, I'm going to step outside and get a little cool air because you all are going to do some evaluations of this session. We want to know if it was of any value to you at all. But before I step outside, any questions or comments? Okay, if you want to come up and play with my iPod afterwards, this little program, see if it might be useful to you, feel free to. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.